Hello, everybody. Darcy Marler here. We're going to do another Students Taking Action video today, and I'd like to introduce you to a student, Dan Hogenbirk. So where Dan lives, it's really hard to cash flow positively a single-family home. The prices for these buildings have just gone through the roof, and the rents aren't keeping track. So what Dan was doing was he was actually a basement suite or a secondary suite in the basement. So what that does is it adds a second source of income, great, but it also drives down the cost per unit. Perfect. But then the government, the governing body where Dan lives, changed the rules in a positive way so that any parcel, all properties can have a minimum of 3 units. So Dan bought the course to learn how to build a garden suite or a laneway house, whatever you want to call it, in the back. So now he's got 3 sources of revenue and again, driven down that cost per unit even further. So, and then Dan's also going the next step where now he's actually tearing down that old house and custom building triplexes and fourplexes. In fact, through the rest of 2023 and into 2024, Dan's got 31 new units in various stages of planning or actually in the construction. 31 units, how awesome is that? Dan's going hard, and I love it. So if that's you, if you're feeling frustrated and stuck that the real estate investing isn't what it was supposed to be, I'm not cash flowing stuff, it's just getting harder, and you're starting to think about how can I increase my profits, increase my revenue from this, and you're starting to think about development, starting to think about building new. I've got a course that talks about exactly that and can get you from where you are now to where you want to be. A proud builder. You can watch your creative juices flow and you can literally see your new project rise from the ground up. In fact, Dan talks about that, the feeling of pride he feels now compared to what he did when he was just renovating. It's night and day difference. And I want you to experience that too. So I host a webinar on a regular basis. The links to register in the comment section below. This webinar will show you why development could be your financial future. So now, without further ado, Dan Hogenbirk. Yes, we're here with Dan Hogenbirk. Dan, welcome.
Thanks for having me there, Darcy.
Good. So you've been investing for a bit. So why don't you give us a bit of a background about yourself and let us get to know you better.
Sounds good. So about 5 years ago, I purchased my parents' landscape construction company from them with my brother-in-law. We had quite a bit of pressure in the snow industry where insurance prices were starting to skyrocket. So we had to kind of figure out a different way to keep our guys busy. So we started doing real estate investing in the wintertime, starting with some smaller projects, some basically duplex conversions, but we knew eventually it was going to have to get quite a bit larger because we have roughly 35 people that work for us. So we had to get it where we were doing quite a few different projects. So we started with a few, and as our guys sort of got better, we kept expanding. And then this last year, we ended up selling the snow maintenance division of our business off. Now we're focusing on landscape construction in the summertime, and then we're doing real estate investing for ourselves in the wintertime.
So before you were doing flips or?
Before the course, we were basically doing duplex conversions, and we did a few flips. So you basically buy a bungalow and then add a unit in the basement and then refinance it. That was our typical strategy.
Now, did you keep them as rentals or did you sell them as well once you're done with them?
Kept almost everything as rentals. So early on, we kind of knew that we're based in Toronto or GTA, that there's not a lot of cash flow in our area, but we wanted to be able to build some wealth. So we still wanted some rentals. So we focused on buying duplexes that were on bigger lots that would potentially have the potential for some land development in the future, knowing that eventually we might want to try that. Yeah, so most of our portfolio actually can be adding coach houses or severances or something like that. But it took a little while till we actually decided to get going and start pursuing that strategy for sure. So
when you've been, actually you were one of the first kind of early last year, you joined up the course. Kind of what were you feeling you were missing? What were you looking to gain by taking the course?
What I was really missing when I took the course is we had set the goal for that year to be the year that we were going to sell off our maintenance company. So I didn't feel confident enough yet in my basically new construction or development skills in order to achieve that goal. So I was trying to learn as much as I could. So another investor recommended all your books to me. So I read all your books, and then very shortly after you came to Durham REI and did a presentation, you had a course. So I jumped on the course and tried to learn as much as I could at that point. And yeah, it's been good.
So now that was early 2022. So now what did the rest of that year look like? And into 2023, what kind of stuff are you doing in development now?
That year, I believe we'd already purchased a number of properties, but for 2022, the ones that we had under construction, we were going to be doing 3 duplex conversions where they all had coach houses in the backyard. So those were going to be our first new construction projects. And with the properties that we'd been purchasing that we're going to be doing through 2023, 2024, potentially 2025 is another 31 units of new construction, focusing on tearing down one house, building 2, tearing down one, building 3, or severances, and then building on the separate parcel, basically.
Before you were just suiting the basements, now you're adding a potential 3rd unit in the back of garden suite, or
or
apartment over garage or whatever.
Yeah.
So how you liking the new construction world as opposed to the?
I really like new construction a lot more than I like renovating. Now that I've done it, we definitely want to start focusing more on that. It's a lot less stressful, I find. The permitting process is a lot more, obviously, than when you're just doing renovations and so forth. But when you actually get to the construction, it's a lot more enjoyable, and I like seeing the new product over the renovated product by far a lot more. So.
What about, I always say, the sense of pride you get from a new build versus a reno is night and day. So
yeah, it's night and day for sure.
Cool. So what you running into any problems, or like what good and the bad? What are you kind of running into?
The main problems that we've run into is more in the permitting area with our projects, where we are, because we're kind of, with the strategy that we're doing with our existing guys, we're limited to a small geographic location, and one of the municipalities pays quite a bit less than the municipalities around it. So they've had a bit of a brain drain to the surrounding municipalities, and a lot of staff have left. So the permitting process in GTA is typically pretty slow, and then this one in particular is quite slow. So for us, the hardest part so far has been trying to line up getting the projects shovel ready in time for when our guys would be ready to do them.
I always say there's nothing worse than getting your approval here in Canada on like December 15th when the ground's already hard and you can't get going right anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
What specific kind of things have you learned from the course? That it sounds like you're gone right off, just 31 units. That's awesome. So what kind of stuff have you taken from the course?
There's a lot of stuff that I learned from the course. So I've gotten started on my journey a little bit before joining the course, but you clarified a lot of different things, and there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know, because I hadn't spoken to a lot of people that had done this, where like trying to make sure that you're in and out of the project fast, because we had got into where I learned that was a lot more important from hearing it from you, and then seeing where the market tanked. Obviously, I bought a lot of properties in 2022, so seeing that the market where we are went down 35%, it's quite a risk to be holding that many projects for that length of time through that period. It's going to be fine, but just where you focus on that, make sure you get in and out quick. That was a key thing that I learned there. Focusing on one strategy as well, that was another thing, where maybe just do the land development or just do the construction, different things like that. There was so many different little things, more about how a developer should think than just little minute details, like different ones where it changed my strategy slightly, where you had said in Alberta that with all the new construction that happened, a lot of your older rentals, you didn't end up having, where the tenants started leaving your older rentals to go into the new construction stuff. We're having the similar thing now here in Durham region where I invest, where there's a lot of new construction that started. We haven't had it where they're getting sucked out of the old stock yet, but that's likely what's going to happen. So you want to be the person with the new fancy house to make sure that if you are going to be renting them out, that you're safe, basically, or else it might not end up going very well for you further down the line.
Yeah, here we saw a real cannibalization of the older properties, that 1970s, 1980s, 1960s product. if a new thing got built across the street, you could actually see the tenants whip across, and we didn't have any migration because of that reception and so the old stuff got screwed, right? So yeah, that's definitely one of the main things about new is it attracts better quality tenant at higher rents, and then so it's a real plus. How about the community of fellow students? Have you reached out and interacted with them much?
Interacted with them quite a bit at the networking event that you had in Toronto there. That was really good, just meeting a lot of different people that are doing similar things to me. Some of them doing bigger stuff, some of them doing smaller stuff. I really liked hearing that the community is working on that one big project in Edmonton. So that'd be something I'd be interested in doing in the future. If the community keeps doing stuff like that, I definitely want to be a part of that. Eventually, I'd like to move into doing bigger deals at some point. So being able to join a group and actually work on one together is definitely something that'd be appealing to me.
I'll tell you, if that group finds another one and puts out a message to the group, I bet you more than 6 or 8 I'll respond next time too. So.
For sure, yeah.
So that's really good. No, so that's I really want to thank you for doing this, Dan. This is really good. I'm really pleased to see how you're just really going after this. Like, this is a really, I'm all in. I love the excitement of it and the creativity, and you get to deal with new, as you said. So I'm really glad that you've kind of seen the same world and are excited by it as well.
Yeah, no, it's a lot better than the flips and the rentals, at least for me. I've done that and ready to get out of the renovation world for sure.
That's where I was too. I was just tired and bored. So I think that's we're on the same page there. Anyway, I really appreciate this, Dan. Thanks for taking some time, and I know the students are going to love this. So thanks again. So 31 units, how awesome is that? But the real key is he did it step by step. You don't have to do it overnight. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. See, he started with just regular rentals, then he suited a basement, then he learned how to put the third unit in the back. Then he learned how to knock down old house and build the triplex and fourplex. It's a step-by-step process to get to a repeatable system, and that's where he's at now. A repeatable system where he just knows what he's doing. And you can be that too. It is possible. You can do this. So if you'd like to learn more about that and how my course and myself can literally transform your life, I urge you to reach out and contact me. My contact information is on the screen below. Let's talk about your financial future. Thank you.